Welcome back. Today we're talking about guns and women. You too can be empowered to use a firearm to protect your life and maybe somebody else's. Welcome to Every Woman.
Queens over here, and make no mistake in big things over here. Goddess in the flesh, you can tell by the smell of it. Every time I step in the room, it's an elephant. Woman.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everybody today?
Ooh. Amazing. Welcome back to week 2, y'all.
Yes. Week 2. We made it.
Yes, I'm feeling good. How you feeling, girl?
I'm tired.
I'm tired. I am kind of tired. Like, I've been working out every day since I joined the gym.
Yes,
like,
I love it.
Yes, I'm a self-proclaimed Planet Fitness model now. Like,
they're gonna have you in the commercials.
They better if they know it's good for them.
In there with the selfies.
Yes, I definitely take my selfies. I got my waist trainer, and I've been going every single day just to make sure that I stay consistent with it, because it takes 7 days, they say, or 7 or 21. I'm gonna just do both, but to basically form a habit.
Oh, I thought it was 30. Keep going.
Oh, yeah, just keep on going.
Like, now, wait a minute.
Just
don't stop.
Doing
Don't
it.
quit.
Don't stop. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going because I got some goals to meet, and I wanna slim down and stop busting out of my clothes.
Okay. So are you a morning workout person, or do you like working out, after the day is over?
I would prefer mornings simply because it sets the tone for my day.
Mm-hmm.
It sets the tone for the day versus me being at home, getting distracted, and doing something and laying in the bed longer than I probably should.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I got to roll out of bed and into the gym. Sometimes I sleep in my gym clothes, so I can just roll out and go. And don't have to, because if I do anything, if I eat or anything before I work out, I just either it's not going to happen or it's not going to be that productive for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think it does set the tone for the day, but I'm not a gym person. I like to be outside. So I like to run the track and do exercises outside. I don't know, the gym to me feels a little stuffy, but that's just my opinion. But I would rather go run the track, a couple miles around the track.
I feel that, because I feel like if I lived somewhere like LA or something, I would be outside working, just being active, hiking, you know what I'm saying, doing active things. I wouldn't have to be in the gym, but we live in Michigan, so.
I like doing in the summertime the Zumba and kickboxing aerobics outside.
Yeah.
That works for me, but I cannot run around or walk around my neighborhood because of dogs. Yeah, I'm just scared of them.
Yeah.
The 2 and the 4-legged ones.
Well.
Evening workout for the win over here.
Oh, yeah?
Not a morning person at all.
So you can go about your whole day, work, take care of the family, the house, cook dinner, all that stuff, and then you go
I
to
would
the
rather
gym.
sleep in
Really?
and be well rested for the day, and then end my day with a workout.
And you still get it done?
Yes.
You still
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Good
Tam
for
is
you.
definitely determined.
Yeah.
Good job, Tam.
Because
Good
if
for
I'm
you.
sleepy, so you ever had moments like where you're sleepy and you just like,
That's when I really tell myself, get up and finish this workout.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I ain't gonna lie though, I ain't been working out in a while.
See, I'm like, if I'm tired, I just like, sleep is more important. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's like, except for in the morning, then I tell myself, get up.
You gotta get up regardless. So it's like, get up, go to the gym. And sleeping in my gym clothes, like how you said, actually, it does help. I do that too. Shower at night, gym in the morning. It's okay if you're a little musty at the gym. Like, you're supposed to sweat. Shower after.
There you go.
That's nasty.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, Tam, but
What you gotta do? Okay,
I'm
Works
judging
better.
you.
I know we're not the only people who do it, because I know I have friends who do it too. So
Hey.
I mean, it's okay.
They
to
might not
little
talk about it,
freshen up,
but
Let me
yeah,
tell
I'm
you
not about
something.
to-
Every time I had to do a downward stretch or a upward dog or a cow tail or whatever that stretch is where you
And
be like
yoga.
this, and I had to smell my breath, I needed to be fresh. So
Yes.
I'm brushing my teeth, I'm
Well,
washing my
yeah.
rear end, and it's all going to be clean because I don't want to smell it.
no, that I do.
Oh,
I
yeah,
definitely
you
brush
don't-
my teeth
yeah.
before the gym because
Yeah.
I feel like I can't.
And
But
you running on that track and no.
yeah, we don't want to smell that.
So today's topic, you guys, is a little bit more serious. Today's topic is about guns, gun violence, what's going on in the world with guns. I was doing some research before the show, and I was looking up like what are the gun laws in other countries versus in the United States, and I found something interesting. So in Iran, they actually civilians don't have access. I'm sorry, in Israel, civilians don't have as much access to guns as they do in the United States, but the gun homicides per person are actually not higher than the United States, but they're higher than what they should be for the amount of civilians that have access. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody else, where gun laws are more restrictive, they tend to have less, civilian homicide and things like that due to gun violence. The United States actually has some of the most civilian-owned guns out of any other country. So for every 100 people, it says there are actually 120 and a half guns. So yeah, more guns than people.
Yeah, okay, you saw my
Yep.
eyes go up.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yep.
What?
Yeah, so 120 and a half guns per 100 people, and our gun homicides are 4.12 per 100,000 people. That it might not seem that high, but it's still high. It's very high, especially when you look at it in comparison to other countries. Even like Canada, there's 34.7 guns per 100 people. There's only 0.5 gun deaths per 100,000 people.
Well, that's because in Canada specifically, I know that, their primary purpose for having guns and firearms and long guns is for hunting and sport.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here in the United States, we have guns to protect ourselves. You were talking about how if you go for a walk or run around the neighborhood, you got the 4-legged dogs and the 2-legged dogs.
Right.
Well, some of us have to
Protect
carry a little
yourself.
something on our side on those walks to protect ourselves because people are coming up missing. There's human trafficking. I mean, there's a whole slew of different topics and things that we can get into about why women need to protect themselves when they're just out doing normal activities.
Exactly.
I think that that's ideal, is that we have them to protect ourselves. But more importantly, it's more so with men. I think it's a what do you say, masculinity. They need to show that they're tough. Like, yeah, I got a gun. You walk up on me. They're showing it because, you know what I'm saying? It's what they see. It's what they, and that's the negative part of it that really we probably need to shed more light on because why?
Well, I don't know. I think is that, we as Americans have our, what amendment is it, right? Second Amendment right to bear arms. So it is taken very literally. In some states like Texas, more literal than others. We do have the right to bear arms, and we have open carry here in Michigan and some other states. And so, I did not grow up here in Michigan seeing a lot of people just walking around open carrying weapons.
Neither did
Or,
I.
excuse me, not weapons, firearms, guns.
Right.
Because it's only a weapon if you use it to intentionally hurt someone, right? But I did not grow up seeing that. Texas is a little different. I was watching some YouTube videos, and there are women there who are like gung-ho about being able to open carry their guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's more the thing about what I found out about women in gun carrying and everything is that it is a way to protect ourselves, right? But it's also for some women becoming a sport, and that shocked the hell out of me. Like, it's a sport. Like, yeah, I played Tomb Raider, and I was like, pew pew, yeah, Laura Croft, I like her, But I never looked at it as a sport. It was always a tool of protection in my eyes.
Yeah.
It can save you in a life or death situation, but people need to learn how to handle them properly.
Yes.
People need to know how to store them properly.
Yes.
And keep them away from kids.
Yeah, gun violence in America is
gosh.
probably it's a huge problem, especially when children are getting hold of improperly stored firearms.
Yeah.
And you have stories on the news pretty frequently where you hear about another child shooting either themselves or another child, and that's just tragic. And back to our point about why we carry guns here for protection in the United States, there was a gun tragedy in my own personal family where it prompted my son to go purchase a firearm because someone who's very close to him, not in our household, but someone he's very close to, got shot. You know, someone I'm very close to got shot, and my son just turned 21 and he wanted to purchase a gun. And so that's what prompted him to protect himself and his loved ones when, you know, he's out and about.
Yeah. I feel like on the other side of that, like I grew up, we had guns in the house, right? But us as children in the household, we knew not to touch them. But then you get your family members and stuff that they come over. And I can recall one time where we had company over and adults are downstairs. So us kids are upstairs playing. And one of the children actually found my dad's rifle under the bed.
Oh my God.
And he actually did pull the trigger and the gun did go off. And so nobody got hurt, thank God for that. But it's just, you know, like you say, those things do need to be stored properly and things like that. For me, I'm not one who is a fan of guns. I'm getting emotional. Because I was attacked at my home with a gun, right? With my daughter, she was 4 at the time. So for me, that didn't prompt me to go out and want to buy a gun, actually shied me away from that.
Okay.
Because I just feel like, why do we even need them? I know why, and I am all for the Second Amendment, but at the same time, for me, it just wasn't something that I was like, okay, well, since this happened, let me go out and get one. And even my husband at the time, he still had guns in the house. I wouldn't touch them, anything like that, simply because of that. And I've been around situations where people in my high school, I was at a party, the guy probably was less than 5 feet away from me. He got shot and died. You know, I've been in situations where guns have been very prevalent in society. And I just feel like I really don't understand why it has to be that way. I know why. I just don't.
Yeah.
For me, it just doesn't really resonate like that.
I wonder what the obsession, especially in America, is with guns. I feel like America has this unhealthy obsession, one way or the other, either for or against guns. I've never been a strong advocate on either, and I feel like I'm very big, and this is everything in life pretty much. It's like, do what makes sense. Like, just do whatever makes sense. Right. Do what makes sense for you. And then I'm reminded that common sense is not always so common.
It's not.
So sometimes doing what makes sense doesn't actually make sense. It just makes sense for you and your weird ass thought process.
Exactly.
But like you know, growing up, I've had experiences. There was one time when it was like a whole thing in the neighborhood, not a great neighborhood where I was at. In a neighborhood, somebody's bike got stolen. One of the adults was like looking for the kid's bike, whatever. Somebody pulled out a gun. They were shooting. I was 13 at the time, running from gunshots. They were shooting not directly at me, but at the people that I was with. I could have got shot at 13-year-old over a bike. You know what I'm saying? But never once did I think like, oh, I want a gun so I can shoot back. Because then what if somebody else got shot because we're having a shootout in the middle of a residential street in a neighborhood with a bunch of kids?
Exactly. I always felt like, you know how they say, I don't feel guns kill people. I feel stupid people with guns kill people.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I lost a brother to gun violence, and, you know, he was shot, attempted robbery. They shot and killed him and didn't take a thing, basically. It was just so unnecessary. It's a life gone, you know, for something so stupid. But I feel like and my brother was a CPL holder, he did not have his gun on him. I feel like if he would have had his gun on him, he may even still be here today. So it's very situational when it comes to dealing with guns, because it could be a situation where more people are hurt, and it could always be a situation where a life is saved too. And that goes back to with the proper training, proper safety.
Absolutely, because I feel like, you know, it's not even, so we obviously have a lot of registered gun owners in the United States. But unfortunately, I think a lot of those registered gun owners don't have the proper training, and don't properly educate those in the household or those around them. And so that guns get in the hand of people who are not the registered gun owners. They get in the hands of people who are just playing around or have never seen a gun, one will play with it. And that's where I think the accidental shootings and things like that. And also people stealing their parents' guns or their family's gun, going into schools and just to show them off or to to hurt people, people stealing their family's guns at family functions, events, barbecues, whatever, and just say, oh, look at, whatever, and then accidentally is getting shot. Like, I think, and this is why I guess if I have any sort of stance on it, it would be that we do need more education. I think we need a better screening process because I think people right now with mental illness, with proven domestic violence situations, with proven mental illness issues, things like that, they're still being allowed to purchase and own or just guns, firearms.
Ain't it crazy how it's easier to get a gun, but they're trying to take abortion rights away? Like, guns have more rights than humans at this point.
Listen, we're not going there. Stay on topic.
Because women, we like to jump around.
Let me just reel it in. No, but you're right. But my thing again is like, what's influencing that? Is it pop culture? Is it the movies? Is it the sensationalism, the desensitization of social media, of seeing people playing with guns, posing with guns? I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody's profile pic where they're holding a gun up.
I feel like it makes people feel empowered in some sense. Like, I have this thing here, and I feel empowered because I have definitely seen, I seen a little girl playing with a gun online and it went off. Great, like it barely grazed her head, and she's like, "Oh my God," or it's the rappers in the video with the wiggly wrist holding a gun, and, like it's a thing of empowerment, definitely. I think.
So, to your point of empowerment, I would like to chime in there just a little bit and say that in all my years on this earth, I have never felt the need to own a gun. I've never felt threatened or had a circumstance that, similar to what you said, Alicia, where I made a decision after that occurred to say, oh, I'm going to go out and buy a gun. Right. The reason that I decided to purchase a gun, it was one, after I was trained and licensed, after I had already had practice and I got safety. Like, I'm the ideal proper gun owner, firearm holder, carrier person, right? And one of the things that I learned from my instructor during the course of the last 2 years as I've been going and practicing, target practicing everything, is that if you carry, always carry. Yeah. To the point at which your brother, like, he was an owner of a gun and he had his CPO, but he just happened not to be carrying that day. Right. So if you carry, always carry. I ain't about to give all my secrets away on this show, but please don't. You know what I mean? Like,
but number one, stay alert
and be comfortable. Absolutely. Get the proper training with your firearm. And I don't know. I think I went to the gun range with my cousin for Father's Day in 2020, and I think that's what really turned me on, because that was only the third time that I had gone to the gun range. I shot a gun twice before that, and they were many years apart. And then when I did it the third time, I was like, you know what? It's something to this. I think I like it. There's an adrenaline rush. There was a sport aspect to it as far as targeting, and I just enjoyed it. And so I wanted to equip myself with the education, the safety knowledge, the proper license to be able to be a gun owner.
So I have a question, because Toy, you said something earlier. You said, I don't believe guns kill people. I believe stupid people kill people. Why do we view gun violence in America differently than we do war? Because you wouldn't say that you think somebody going to war and fight for the country was stupid, right? But they over there killing people. Why do we look at it differently?
Half the time when it's a war, money is behind war. There's money in war, and half the time we may have a stupid president that may ignite that war. Things can always be solved different, but like I'm not a big fan of war either, to be honest. Like, a lot of people's lives are unnecessarily lost in war when things could have been different.
That was the point I was going to make, because innocent people are still being killed when we go to war. Yeah. Regardless of the money aspect, there's still innocent people who may be in the line of fire, who are just trying to get out of the way, and unfortunately they become a casualty of war. And I don't see it as being any different, right? Because people are still being killed. Whether somebody is shooting at you and you just trying to shoot back at them to protect yourself, people are still being killed. And for what? Because we trying to gain some oil, or we trying to gain control of whatever. Like,
you know, I might even say to carry on with my thought behind why I decided to become a gun owner is during the pandemic. Remember, and I don't know if it still is, there was a whole ammo shortage because people were.
They thought the purge was coming.
They were afraid. They were, you know, getting all their arms. They were probably building what do you call them things? Where like an arsenal, armories in their homes, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, oh shoot, what's gonna happen? I think that might have really been one of the primary reasons why I was like, let me go get something to protect my family.
Yeah.
So, you know, my first thought of ever wanting to have a gun, and it wasn't, you know, through the death of my brother either. But I started doing more things in entertainment. And I was sometimes out by myself and sometimes late at night. And I'm like, you know what? Anybody could just run up on me and I have nothing to protect me. So that was my first thought, like, hey, you know what? I think I need a gun. And then I had a domestic situation, and a lot of people said, well, I kept on hearing, if you would have had a gun. But in my heart, I don't see myself ever shooting anyone, but what I will say is I took a class. I did end up taking like a CPL class. I learned the safety, and then of course I'm with you ladies. But after we went, I actually did take a CPL course. I haven't went and actually obtained a firearm just yet. For multiple reasons. I want to have that comfort there. I never want to shoot out of fear. And I watched a couple of videos where they were talking about ladies loading ammunition in a stressful or fearful situation. Like, you got to be able to get through that instead of fumbling through those bullets and, you know, doing everything. So I want to have that comfort there before I ever start walking around with a pistol. Like,
and part of that, you know, not operating out of fear is, you know, knowing the law.
Yeah,
because
you can't shoot nobody in the back.
Absolutely.
Well, you can't shoot nobody in the back. You can't shoot nobody if they in your garage, if they in your driveway. In certain situations, you have to know the law.
Exactly.
You know, there was. I'm not gonna go there. Never mind.
It was actually a situation recently that I read about, and a woman's boyfriend was breaking into her home, and she shot and killed him. Now, the details weren't provided on where he was shot at, but, you know, wherever he got shot, he was killed. And she had been detained. And I had to explain to a couple people, like, you know, per the law, if you fire your arm, you know, you shoot someone basically and you kill them, no matter what the process is, you're going to be detained. That's just a natural process. It doesn't mean you're guilty or innocent. You're going to be detained. Yeah.
I don't want to jump the gun or anything on
Pun intended.
on anything, but we have an expert in studio today who will give us like more detailed information on that. So, you know, let's not continue to speculate or whatever. Like we can get to that, but you know, I just wanted to say that right there. Like, I can't wait to bring her on.
Yeah, that's actually where I was going next. So thank you. I was like, as soon as Toy wrap up, like I'm ready to bring our guest on because I'm excited to have this conversation with an expert in this area. Okay, but first, before we bring our guest on, we do have a video from. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the range with you guys, but there is a video from when whatever.
Every
So
woman.
Every woman. Yes. Went to the shooting range.
Alicia, I feel like I've met you before previously, yes. It's nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. Thank you. forward. Shoot.
That was really intense. That was really emotional, you guys. And we have with us here in studio today Zakia Gibson, who is the CEO of She Shoots and far more educated on this topic than me. So I'm excited to have your expertise. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, ladies.
Thank you.
So Zakia, talk to us a little bit. You were there.
Yes.
Talk to us about that experience, what it was like for you. I know Alicia was a really emotional for her, and you have experience with this, right? And working with people from all walks of life and in training and instructing them on the usage of firearms.
Yes. This is why I do what I do. The experience with Alicia was empowering. It was a freedom and liberation for her to pull the trigger and be confident enough to shoot. And that's what She Shoots is about, empowering women, especially women of color, to be fearless and confident with utilizing a firearm.
Absolutely.
And Alicia did that. She overcame, something that was emotionally stressful for her and traumatizing. And all of that energy went into that trigger. And when I say she hit it dead on center, oh,
Yeah.
I was proud of her. I was proud of her.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. Thank you. It was, oh my God, I can't even explain it, but she was amazing just being in there with me because even, even driving to the shoot, I got emotional. Like, it was like, okay, you got to pull it together, pull it together, pull it together. And even there, like, even hearing the people in the room next door to us, it just got me. And I was like, you came here for a reason. You have to do this. You have to do this. And I can remember her being in my ear saying, just pull the trigger. Just pull the trigger. And honestly, I can't even tell you how I hit it because I think my eyes was closed when I pulled the trigger. So I don't even know. Every single time I pulled the trigger, I think my eyes was closed. But I felt a sense of relief when I actually did pull the trigger because I don't know if you could see it, but in the video, I let out a sigh after the first one. And then she just kept saying, come on, you can do this. You can do this. And it just made me say, okay, I can do this. Now, I have not taken another class since, but I do definitely want to get back in there.
I love it. Zakia, so tell us a little bit about you and how She Shoots came to begin, what inspired you to start it?
Absolutely. So about 10 years ago, I started shooting, but I didn't feel that I had the skill set going to the range independently. So I decided to take a CPL class, a CCW class. And when I took the class was dominated by males, the instructor, the participants, and I was one of the only 2 females in the class. I didn't feel confident in that class as a woman with the lack of skill set, being amongst so many men.
Yeah.
And it just clicked for me. I said, women need to be in this industry. We need to be skillful at handling and shooting firearms and be able to defend ourselves. And we may need to be taught by women instructors. Women have a certain, maternal, gentle, more loving, interaction with other women. And it's not violating. What I've learned as an instructor now is there is a lot of a variance of women who come before me who have had tragic experiences. Yeah. And I want to be gentle with them. I want them to be comfortable in my presence. And I didn't feel that when I, obtained my CCW. It was a very strong masculine energy. And so we need that balance when we're learning and when we're teaching. You need to feel comfortable. So I decided to, with my first class that I attended, bringing them to a friend instructor who allowed for us to study with him to obtain our CCW, CPL. I said, what do you all think about having an all-women shooting club for women of color? Let's do this. And that day, that seed was planted, and I moved full speed ahead with it. Wow. Developed the logo, she shoots, with confidence, fearless, empowering women to really understand how to handle a firearm in any situation. Yeah. It's important. So with the CPL class, CCW class as well, it was one class, one course. How can you be proficient with one course? And most of your experience is classroom hours. 5 hours in the classroom, 3 hours on the range. Okay. I wasn't confident with shooting. Anyone can aim a firearm, but can you shoot it in the center every single time? Yeah. What does your grouping look like? Right. And so that skill set, I said, oh my goodness, how many people are actually sitting around carrying guns, firearms, have them in their cars, have them unloaded in their homes, ready to protect themselves. But can you really shoot? Yeah. Because it's about if someone is attacking you, if someone is coming into your own home in an invasive manner, they have a mission. What is your mission? Yeah. Okay? One of the first classes that I held, the women always say, well, can I just shoot him in the leg? Or can I shoot him in the arm? I don't want to harm them.
You can harm somebody really badly from shooting them in the leg, though.
In
if
the
hit the right vein.
Yes, but they can get up and walk and continue to hurt you.
You gotta shoot him in the other knee. See, I told y'all. I'm like, okay, I could definitely shoot somebody. Let me go get a gun.
Okay, so if you had to shoot somebody, had to, not want to, had to. We got to make sure to say that.
For sure.
And you thought of where you was going to aim, where you going to shoot them. In the knee?
The knee.
Why the knee?
Because I feel like that shit would hurt. If you got them right in the knee, then blow their knee out, you can't walk nowhere. So it's like if I didn't really want to kill you, but I just wanted to torture you, or I wanted to shoot you again or just punch you in the face, I could shoot you in the knee, you're going to fall, and then I can come up to you and do whatever I want. At least that's how I see it in my head.
So what if you shoot them in the knee and they keep on coming?
I'm shooting the other knee. They definitely ain't going nowhere. I told y'all. Shooting the other knee.
Both knees. You got a twofer.
So then it becomes a legal issue. And this is what we teach because it has to be an imminent threat. And if it's an imminent threat, that means that they were threatening you to the point where you needed to protect yourself. And if you're not killing them, which is very difficult to say, it was not an imminent threat.
So I have a question for you. When you're in a situation like that, do you shoot to kill? When you train women, do you teach them to shoot to kill?
If you are going to carry a firearm and you're going to use it to protect yourself, you must shoot to kill.
See, Toy, I think me and you would have a problem. I think that me and you, because like you said earlier, like you don't know if you could ever actually shoot somebody, and I'm the same way. And I've thought about it, like if I had to, because I used to own a gun, and I got rid of it because I was like, I'm never going to use this. I don't even think in the face of immediate danger, I don't know if I could actually shoot somebody.
Yeah, that's me too.
So I was like, why do I even have this? Like, I'm going to have to figure something else out. Yeah. Do you work with women with their mindset? Because this is more than just the ability to pull a trigger and the education piece that goes with a lot of it. It's an emotional experience. Right.
Yes.
Do you ever work with women in that regard?
Sure, a variety of women. And the first thing that I say is, we're going to work through this. But if I recognize part of my accountability and responsibility as an instructor is to determine whether you're capable of doing that. You know, so if someone is coming for you, it's either you or me.
Absolutely.
And you're a woman, if you have children, if you have a mother, if you have a father, you have family. It's either them or me.
Right.
Most women are so maternal that they think about the killer, the perpetrator's family, their lives, their children. Is it an imminent threat then? No, it's not. If you're thinking of all of that, if someone is attempting to harm you.
That's heavy.
So if you carry, you always carry. If you pull your firearm out, you're shooting to kill. And you must, in a court of law, prove that it's an imminent threat, meaning the person was larger than you, stronger than you, and out to take your life.
Wow.
Yeah, that's heavy. So
That is very heavy.
earlier, before we watched the video of you all at the range, you know, we were talking about gun violence and why is it so different here? The laws. Like, what is your take on that? Just like the gun laws in the United States versus other countries, and the amount of inner city violence that we have.
Sure. So we have a lot of freedom here in Liberty. You know, and with freedom and liberty comes responsibility. Women, children, and elders are the most vulnerable population in the United States. And with that being said, we need to be able to protect ourselves, I believe. Someone said earlier that people kill and guns don't. If I lay my firearm on the table now, it's not going to kill anyone.
Right.
I have to be in the mentality and the thought process to say, I'm going to intentionally take someone's life. And what influences that? TV influences it. Video games influence it. Violence within the home influences it. And one of the primary factors of women, especially Black women in the U.S. being killed, is domestic violence, rape, burglary. Okay? So we are preyed upon as an easy target. So where we might not be thinking of it, because we're putting on our makeup in the car, we're, you know, fixing our hair, fine-tuning our outfit, walking with our phones in our hand, looking at our nails to make sure we're groomed properly, you know, taking care of our earrings, things of that nature. Someone else is thinking about you
Watching
being a
us at
target.
Oh, yeah.
You know, interacting with our children. We're multitask people.
So a question about that, because most women have children or somebody in the home, whether it's an elderly parent or a child or a smaller loved one that they have to protect. When you do the training for women, do you show them things like how to, you know, you may have your baby right here, but you got to fire this arm, you know, fire this gun at the same time. So is there special tactics or training that you do to help with situations like that?
All the time. You can't just carry. You have to be a responsible gun owner. And that means knowing how to draw your firearm. Most people carry. They rock the waistband. They rock the thigh holder. It's cute. It's sexy. But is it usable? Is it practical? Do you know how to draw from that, you know, band? And yes, teaching you how to act accordingly in a carjacking situation. You're dealing with your seatbelt. You're dealing with the steering wheel as obstacles. And this is happening within a matter of 3 seconds, right? Because they've already targeted you. So how do you react with your child holding their hand walking down the street? How do you, any situation that exists that is impromptu?
I can actually attest to her instruction because I've been a member of She Shoots, I think, for 2 years now.
Yes.
I was probably one of the founding members. I got my membership card and everything.
One of the most consistent members. Yes.
And you know, I had spoken earlier about how I wanted to be a responsible gun owner and everything. One of the outings that we did with She Shoots was we went to a virtual gun range, and it actually put you in situations virtually, different from just target practice at the range where you had to respond to a threat.
So it's like real tactical training.
Absolutely.
Yes. Wow.
And
so
it was interactive.
It was
so,
interactive.
Yes.
And it also tested your grouping, your targeting, your skill. I mean, we ran the gamut on the exercises that we did. One of them in particular that really had me shook was when I had to shoot and kill the threat in the virtual experience. And that was like the first time for me actually using the gun to truly protect myself from a threat. And I did. I killed him. I killed him dead.
I did it.
But also there was a scenario like in the gas station where, you know, it could have played out a couple of different ways. I saw the gun. I felt an immediate threat. I chose to shoot. But back to your point about targeting and practice and hitting your target, my first shot went out the window into the gas pumps and could have hit who knows what. So it's not only important to be able to carry and have the safety rules and laws and everything, it's also good to have precision.
So Zakia, do you feel like the training that you provide should be mandatory before people are licensed?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because once you're licensed, it gives you authority to carry. But most people walk out of the course carrying, but not knowing how to react while carrying, not knowing the laws. So it's a responsibility.
Because I love this. Just what I'm hearing, I'm like, I'm even more sad now than I was before that I wasn't able to attend, because I've been to ranges and I've shot before, but I've never had that type of training. I've never had that type of support while learning how to use a firearm properly. And I think that's incredible what you do. Like, that's a very much needed service. And I wish that more people would take advantage of it. I absolutely feel like it should be mandatory before people are licensed.
Absolutely. Well, practice makes perfect, right? And then perfection takes practice, right? But in order to become an expert and truly become perfected, you have to practice perfectly. And that's my rule, you know, when I'm training ladies. Anything that you want to do to the best of your ability, you practice it.
Amber, you're welcome to join us every second and fourth Saturday.
I'm definitely gonna come. You want to come with me,
Yeah.
Alicia?
We're
Okay, me and
gonna do
Alicia are
that.
gonna go together.
Y'all
So we're
going
gonna
on a
hold
trip.
each other accountable to make sure that we go.
So as a person who is trying to get more acclimated to guns, and I know there's a level of comfortability that goes along with it, as a beginner, what do you recommend, like, for guns? I know I hear about 22. I don't know the difference between one or the other. So I can't even, you know, say that. But, you know, just as, you know, somebody who may be out there wanting to know that.
Good question. So I don't practice recommending firearms.
Okay.
I have a large gallery of firearms in my possession. As Tam said, you know, I won't tell my secret of where I keep them, but they're everywhere.
Okay.
And my first time purchasing a gun was based on the recommendation on an instructor.
Okay.
But that firearm was not right for me. The grip didn't work for me. The weight of the firearm didn't work for me. The recoil of the firearm didn't work for me. And that was one of the things that I experienced with a male instructor. Not all men, but men want you to have the biggest gun, the loudest gun, the most powerful one, right? Right, exactly. But if you can't carry the gun and access it, you know, easily, with ease, then it impacts your ability to shoot, right? And so in my classes, I don't recommend for you to purchase a gun until after 30 to 60 days of coming to practice, you know, within that month's time. And so
I also have a follow-up question. Absolutely. So is there a better type of gun that is good for self-defense? For instance, a revolver versus semi-automatic versus something else?
So it's preference.
Oh, it's just preference.
It's preference. And what you'll find is when you come to the course and you're a participant and you're trying these different firearms, because I bring my firearms to the range, you try each one of them. You might start off saying, oh, I love the 22 prior to using the 22. Then you realize the 22 typically jams every 3 rounds, seriously.
Wow.
So it's not always the most reliable.
Okay.
And so I allow you to discover that on your own, because I just can't tell you. I don't feel comfortable telling you. Our hands are different. our mindset's different, our strength is different. So I go through a process of you trying all of the firearms that I own. And then we have members, the sisterhood amongst us. They have different firearms. You try their firearms. We'll rent firearms for you to try if you're interested. And you purchase what's right for you.
Yeah.
And you take your time because they're expensive.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to buy a firearm that's $200. You want to buy a firearm that's at least $500 plus unless it's on sale.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's certain brands that, you know, are popular, but you might not like how they shoot. So it's important for you to test out and figure out what's best for you. That's my recommendation.
That's exactly what I did. We were shooting probably for a good 3 months, maybe 4, before I pulled the trigger and decided I'm on the road today.
That's because you're a high caliber woman.
But I definitely wanted to have some practice with I wanted to have some practice with different firearms before I actually bought one. And so when I took my son to buy his, I made him do the same thing. I said, you did your research, right? Okay, so what are you thinking? All right, let's rent those. Let's go to the range. You can shoot them and then make a decision.
I have another question. There are like, I guess they call cutesy type little guns out now. They're like, one is like, it's shaped like a credit card, and another one is shaped like a cell phone. And during the research, I was looking at some things, and while they're not practical, because like the gun, like the cell phone, the credit card gun only holds 1 round, right? The cell phone gun only holds 2 rounds. It seems like it would be a better option if you're like maybe going to, you know, somewhere, a concert or something, and it can be hidden very easily because it's not per se something that actually looks like a gun, but it looks like a cell phone. It looks like a credit card. Have you ever seen those, and what do you think about those?
So carrying a firearm is not fashionable.
I agree.
Period.
I agree.
I don't carry a firearm for fashion. I carry it for protection. And so the questions that I would have if you decided to purchase something that was fashionable, is it reliable? And is it accessible? And you can't carry at a concert.
Right. Well, yeah, I know that. You know, people
I just have to say it, you know.
People do try.
No, because I was gonna say, like, if you was bringing a cell phone or a gun that looks like a cell phone, and the security guard or whatever didn't pick up on it, like, that's kind of dangerous. Number one. Number two, if you leave that laying around, which people leave firearms laying around all the time. What if a child picks that up? Like, I just feel like that's dangerous.
It is.
Like, that's really, really scary.
So you made an important comment that said carrying is not fashionable, but we as women all dress a certain type of way. Do you recommend just, if you're going to carry, just not wearing certain clothing, or are there products where no matter what you wear, you're able to carry, like, long as you ain't like butt booty naked?
Absolutely. So as I said, carrying is a responsibility. I'm always carrying, and I can be rather, sexy. I can, throw on my sweats, my yoga pants, but I can have a dress on that's rather fitting and still carry, and you won't see it. It should be concealed. Okay, if you're carrying a concealed weapon. Now we have open carry, but if you're carrying concealed with your concealed license, then it should be concealed. Additionally, I don't want people to see what I have, an imprint at all, because then I become the target.
Exactly.
So if there's someone who is intending to cause harm and they see my firearm, they're going to shoot me and kill me first because I'm the biggest threat in the room. And all eyes are on you when you're carrying a firearm. I'm carrying now. I always carry. Did you know? Could you tell? My pants, I have on leather leggings.
Fashionable.
Sexy, fashionable, right? But I'm carrying and I have access to my firearm. So layering is good, but the way that you layer your clothes, that's what I teach you so that you can have access to your firearm. Putting on a jacket, having a shirt that you might tie up in the back, but it's still a little loose. You can still conceal very nicely and be sexy.
Like are fashionably carry ready.
You are
Absolutely. Carry ready. So Zakia, if people are interested in learning more or about joining She Shoots, how would they find out that information?
So my group is actually private. However, I do accept referrals by women who are already members of the organization, or you can contact me directly. As you were speaking about earlier in regards to applications for obtaining a CPL license, I have to have a high level of scrutiny with the women who are in my club. I expect, or I train you to be responsible. We have to live to a higher standard. And so with that being said, I have a private Facebook group, which you can be invited to by one of the members. It's like a secret society there, right? But you can also contact me directly, like I said, and my phone number for She Shoots is 313-312-0042. Or I just set up an IG account today for She Shoots. You'll be proud of me. Hey. Yes. And so that's She Shoots 00. 00, like 007, but it's 00,
like on the shirt,
right? Like or you can email me at sheshotem@gmail.com.
Come on, women. I like that. I like it.
Yes. But we meet every second and fourth Saturday of the month at Action Impact in Southfield on 8 Mile. Love Action Impact. They work with me. They actually open the store 30 minutes to an hour prior to the general public arriving so that I can bring my Shoe Sheets members in. We always
VIP.
have. Yes. We have to be VIP, elite, exclusive, right? So we enter into the range and we have our chat. We pray, we talk about what's going on, ask about any skill set questions that you may have. And then we go into the range and we start practicing prior to anyone else coming into the range, which is important. It gives us our private, personal one-on-one time.
Yeah, she does a lot of talking and educating before we actually start shooting. So you get all that safety training. Just saying.
And she did that.
Every
She absolutely
before
did
we
that.
even pulled the trigger.
She did.
Because when we had our event, that was actually my first time firing a firearm. And so I've always wanted to. And I would, have people say, let's go to a gun range on a date. Like, that guy never called me no more after that. So I'm really happy I got to experience that with you ladies.
Oh, my gosh. It was fun. And what I love is that first time when you shoot the target and you're grouping. That's all about your instructor, their skill level, and their patience with you to ensure that you're hitting that target. Oftentimes you go to the gun range and you see other people's target and their shots are like all over the place. It's on the target. They're like, I did that. No, you didn't. Right? You did not do that.
Okay.
Well, that's how I felt.
But you shot on the center.
You did.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
That was, for me, it was impressive. And I still have my target at home on the wall because it was very like, oh my God, I actually faced the fear and then actually was able to do it good. So that's amazing.
Absolutely. I love it.
When I brought mine home, I was so like, what you trying to say? I'm like, what's a gun range?
This has been really fun, you guys. Like, I feel like from the start of this conversation until now, I've learned so much. I feel so much more educated on this topic, and now I can have a comprehensive conversation about it with somebody who maybe doesn't know that much.
I want to come shoot with She Shoots.
Oh, me too. I'm excited.
I will refer each and every one of them. I'm also an admin. You see how I'm in my She Shoots gear.
We love it. Well, thank you guys all for tuning in as well. We hope you learned just as much as we did today. And I hope you come back next week for another amazing episode of Every Woman. Make sure you follow us, Every Music on YouTube, Every Woman Show on YouTube, Facebook, all of that. Have a great day. I don't know what else to say.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.